Yo, it's your boy Wes the Tech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist growing your craft. Now, today we're going to go over what are track stems used for, all right? So if you're a recording artist who's looking into understanding what track stems are, then this is the perfect video for you. Because in this video, I'm going to explain exactly everything you need to know about track stems and why they are used in the music industry, all right? So to jump right into it, what track stems basically are is basically basically a compilation of files to be used specifically for the purpose of mixing and mastering, all right? So typically speaking, when you're making music, all right, and you know, let's say you're at a studio and you're recording your music, typically that music gets exported out as an MP3. Or let's say you're purchasing a beat online. The most common beat that most people purchase is the MP3 version of the beat. Well, to be honest, the MP3 version is cool to have, but it's not the best version for you to have, especially if you're planning on getting your song mixed and mastered for the best quality, right? And the reason for that is because the MP3 is a single audio file, all right? Typically, an MP3 just looks just like this. It's one single file. All the instrumentation in the beats is in this one file, right? You could, yes, sure, you could email it, you could play it in your car and things like that, but it's just one file and it's compressed. So there's not much that you could do with the MP3, especially when you're dealing with mix and mastering, all right? Now, what track stems are in comparison to the MP3 is track stems is a number of files that give you the capability to edit your instrumentation or your beat way better than you would with an MP3 or even a WAV file of all the beats together, all right? And what I mean by that is because typically when you have a track stem of the beat, the track stem ends up looking like this. It's actually a combination of all the different instruments as individual tracks, right? So instead of having the one MP3 file of all the beats together on one file, you literally have all the instruments individually. You have a track that's just the kick by itself, that's just a hi-hat by itself, that's just the synth piano by itself, that's just the bass guitar by itself. All the instruments are individual rather than having them all together in one file. The reason you need this is because, like I said, you have so much more capabilities editing-wise and mixing and mastering-wise when you have the track stems. For example, let's say you're listening to a beat on BeatStars and you love the beat, but there's one instrument in that beat that you don't really like, that if you had a capability to do so, you would remove. Well, typically speaking, you will not be able to do that with an MP3 file of the beat, right? But you will absolutely be able to do that if you got the track stems for the beat. Why? Because all the instruments are individual and you could simply just remove that instrument by itself and keep everything else. This is just one easy example of how the track stems are way more effective than getting just an MP3 file, especially when you're dealing with making quality music, right? This is why when you go to beatstars.com and you typically see the prices, the MP3 is usually the cheapest and the track stem is usually much more, because that producer is giving you each instrument individually, not just the full beat, right? So you're getting everything. So you could edit it to however you want to edit it, right? Now, when it comes to mix and mastering, it's the same deal, because if you give a mix and mastering engineer an MP3, at the end of the day, no matter how great he is, he's limited, because all he can really do is mess with the MP3. Sure, he can EQ it. Sure, there's certain things that he can still do to the MP3 file, but it is already compressed and there's not much more that he could do to it. But if you were to give that same mixing and mastering engineer the track stems, now it's an open world. Now he can do whatever he wants. Let's say the piano is a little bit too loud. He could literally take just that piano track by itself and lower it. Or maybe he could add an effect to it to make it sound different. Something like that you won't be able to do with the MP3, and that's why track stems are so necessary. But it's not just necessary when it comes to beats, it's also necessary for when it comes to vocals as well. And this is what I mean by that. Typically, let's say you're an artist and you're featuring on another artist's song. or that artist or another artist is going to feature on your song, and they send you a MP3 of their vocals, right? So they send you the MP3 of their vocals, and it's one MP3. It has their lead vocals, it has the background vocals, and it has the ad-libs all on one vocals. But let's say the ad-libs are too loud. As one MP3 file, you cannot do anything about that. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that because they put all the vocals on one track. What that person needs to do is they need to actually send you the track stems of the vocals, and that is literally all the vocals individually. The main lead vocals will be by itself, the background vocals will be by itself, and then the ad-libs will be by itself, each on their own track. With something like this, you have more capabilities of editing. If the ad-libs are too loud, it's one simple click of the button and you could just lower the ad-libs by itself. But you cannot do that with the MP3. You can only do that for the track stems. So when you're sending out your features to another artist, you want to send them the track stems of your vocals. And when you are receiving features from another artist, you want them to send you the track stems of their vocals. That way you have full editing capabilities when it comes to the vocals, and you don't have just one MP3 file or one WAV file and trying to work a miracle with that, all right? So those are really the two biggest reasons that you need track stems: for beats and for vocals when it comes to mixing and mastering. Like I just said before, when it comes to the best quality, you're gonna always need track stems. That's why they're more expensive when it comes to purchasing beats on all the different beat stores like BeatStars and things like that. But you know what you're getting when you're buying it. You're getting the capability of modifying it however to your liking, all right? And that's essentially what track stems are, right? So just to say it one more time, track stems is when you have each individual file separately, and you have just a combination of all the files that make up the song or make up the beat or make up the vocals, all right? But that's pretty much it. Now, if you have any questions about track stems or anything else music related, music industry related, music tips wise, please leave comments in the comment section below, because I'm here to help you as an independent artist. Also, if you're an artist who's looking into at some point leaving your 9-to-5 job and doing music full time, then I strongly urge you to grab my ebook here, The 13 Steps to Jumpstart Your Music Career, because it literally lays out the 13 steps that I took to be able to do music full-time today, all right? Now, me as an independent artist, I love doing music full-time, and I want that same thing for every independent artist that I come across. So that's why I made that ebook, to really guide you and help you get to the promised land of doing music full-time, so that you can leave that 9-to-5 job and never look back, all right? But that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you guys out. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Follow his place with accent O's like whoa, buddy, I'ma do my thing. Cream of the crop like creme brulee. Reppin' my God, man, I ain't changed, so I